Welcome back, everybody. In this video, I'll be working on the purple machine. Up until this point in this video, we hadn't heard this bike run since purchasing it. I went to go look at it. Terry decided to warm it up and take it for a test ride before we got there, but on his way back up the hill, it didn't make it. And when he got it back up, he finally got it back to his house. He tried to fire it up, and it wouldn't fire up. So when he met us at the post office to come up to look at the bike, he said, "You might not want to come look at the bike." He says, "It won't fire up." He says, "I tried to fire it up." So he said it wouldn't hurt my feelings. He wanted to turn around and go back home. But we decided to go up and look at it anyway. And we ended up making a deal for the work that I would have to do to get it fired up. So we've had the bike home for about 3 weeks, and I hadn't heard it run yet. And I took the primary gear off and checked the starter, and the starter was fine. What it was is that the primary chain gear on the back of the clutch hub had broke loose, and there was a pin in there. I guess it's pressed on, and then there's a pin, a lock pin, set pin in between the gear and the clutch hub, and that had spun. And so the first thing I did was get on the BDL site and looked at the kit, because it's a BDL competition clutch kit. And they sell several parts, but they did not sell that hub separate from the kit. And so the whole kit, in order to get that hub, was nearly $1,000. So I took the hub assembly down to a friend of mine, and we looked it over, and he was telling me that I could use a compound by Loctite called Gear Mount. And I couldn't find it through Loctite, but Napa had it, and they had some from Permatex. So I cleaned it up, got it prepped up nice and clean, and put it on both surfaces and let it set for 24 hours is what it recommended to do. And it cured. And then I made a new set screw and put that dude down in there, and put some compound over it to make sure it was locked in, it wouldn't get loose and come back out. And from that point, you guys just have to watch the video and see how it turned out. Well, I'm going to swap up while the set screw on that gear cures before I put it back on the Harley. The Purple Harley. And while I'm doing that, the carburetor on the Yamaha Timberwolf is the float is hung up, and fuel just runs right on through. And so I go ahead and get this dude off of there, and you can see I got pretty much tore down now. And these flies out here are biting my arm grip. They must be hungry. Anyway, go ahead and get this carburetor off and pull the bowl and see what I can do with that float and get it working right. Well, took the carburetor off and cleaned it out a little bit. Had some gunk built up in it. I got the fuel on, as you can see, and that's at the bottom of the carburetor. You don't see any fuel going into my hand, so it's not running over anymore. What do you say we see if it'll run? In the state of Kentucky, the out-of-state bikes have to be inspected by the sheriff for the VIN numbers matching the paperwork. So while I was working on the purple machine, the sheriff come out and showed him around. He done his inspections, and we got a few pictures with him with AJ.
This is an exciting.
I don't want to get caught up in any of this stuff here.
It's a thrilling when you fire it up.
Fire in a hole!
Got the sound of sweet music. What a gorgeous, gorgeous fall tree. And here comes Steven rumbling down the road. Here's Daddy. Doing? What do you think Daddy's doing?
Trying to figure out what's wrong with you. You have to have it on and rev it to even see.
The Permatex gear mount and the set screw worked just fine. Got the purple machine fired up and it was running really well. Put on the primary cover and took it out for a spin. And on the way back, it started crapping out and didn't want to run right. I finally figured out what it was. Is while I was standing there looking at it, I saw sparks jumping between the two cylinders, and that's where the key switch was. And so every time I'd get on it, positive on the key switch would touch metal and arc out. And so I was able to put a rubber grommet around the key switch, keep that from happening. But while I was in the bracket to do that with the key switch, I noticed that the spark plug wires the ends had broke off, and it was never going to get enough current to run correctly. So I ordered a set of Taylor 8mm spark plug wires. They should be here next week. We'll get those on there. Other than that, that seat is a horrible seat. I put some padding underneath it and behind it, and it made a world of difference in the way it felt. So we're definitely going to have to get that taken care of. Other than that, sure glad it runs, the Purple machine.